Who's this girl?
She's the timekeeper.
Oh, interesting.
You'll have to ask her her story.
Those two.
That's called Making It So. Yeah, that's entombed. I painted it after my most recent grandson's birth.
Oh,
I have 2 grandbabies now.
that's right. You have 2 grandchildren. Oh, these are amazing. This one.
Hello. You see the chick?
Yes.
A chick with the dude. I think you asked me about the definition of creativity, and I said that I didn't have a definition for it, but that I think that the creative process is about discovering where your ideas live, about accessing that part of you that realizes that you have ideas, because I think oftentimes, especially adults, we feel like we don't have any, or that someone else has the ideas, and yes. So I think that creative process is about the recognition that you have them, finding out where they live, and acting on that process to bring those ideas to fruition.
So it's an act. It's an action.
It's an act, and it's not about necessarily about making things. It's a way of being in the world. To live creatively is not just about making stuff, but it's about an attitude.
When we think about when you started to become, you realized you wanted to be an artist, to make things early on. Was there a process of developing this sort of inner strength, or did you find that you had it already? Or
I think it was just, it didn't feel like a choice to me. So I think that if anything was doing the choosing, it was doing the choosing, not me. It was definitely not a long thought out decision. It's the same thing that I think when people say to me, oh, you're so self-disciplined, and I'm not, and it's not about that for me. It's a driven action. So that doesn't mean everything I do is good. It just means I can't stop doing it. It's like a very bad habit that I engage with joyfully.
Leah Amosow. I am a little, what would you call me, a co-op student with Beverley, and we work alongside each other on Saturdays, and I have been privileged to go to her gallery in Toronto. It was really neat to see, just going up and down the streets and looking at different other people's galleries, and seeing the different styles of work, and just the creativity was for sure, like the way people used their resources and their medias, and it was really neat. Really neat. Very inspiring. For sure.
As a creative person, as an artist, how important do you feel it is to witness or experience another artist's work, or to even to talk to them about their creative process, or to see the work that they produce as a result of that? How important is that to you?
To me, it's very important. I would definitely recommend that to, as you said, my friends or anyone looking to go into art, or asking for advice in that sense. But definitely, for sure, I think it's very important. Their creative process. I ask Beverley constantly how she comes about things, and I've asked her several questions about that. And when I went down to Toronto, asking people how they get inspired, or how they go from this, this one thought that they had, to their final project, or their final piece. I think, and it's not like I'm stealing their ideas, or I think that I need to change what I'm doing, but that I see that there's other things out there So, you know, maybe at home I'm only doing this, or I think that what I've done was really good, and
Mm-hmm.
this is really cool what I've discovered. And then I go out and I see someone discovered something else I wouldn't have even thought of. I sold my art in Bracebridge and just along the streets in the summer.
Good
But
for you.
yeah, thank you. But the people, like, I loved it because it was very, like, it wasn't pressuring. Like, people were just walking by. They could stop if they want to. They could talk to me. But she said that eyes are the window to your soul, and I love that. So I've kind of used that ever since. But if anything else, if I don't concentrate on anything else, the eyes definitely. And I just, you know, like this girl, she could be saying anything to you. And that's what I love. So the one piece that I did sell, it was another little girl, but her eyes, like, she wasn't doing anything special. She was just kind of staring at you, and it meant something to the woman who bought it, and it was really neat. Like, she found, she said it was very empowering. That little, like, the statement that the girl was making was very, I don't really remember the word she used, but it was just very empowering, like, for women.
Okay.
Was what she
wow.
saw. So,
Wow.
and I didn't see that at all when I did it, but I loved that did that for her. So it wasn't. It's not even like I put in my own message. I leave it open for people.
When I heard Leah talking about the woman that bought the painting that she did of the little girl, and how it made her feel, that Leah's painting, Leah's experience, Leah's creative process as an artist produced that piece. So that was the part of Leah's story.
Right.
And then that piece became part of that woman's story. And that, to me, it's like when we reach into that creative process and do the thing that we are told to do or guided to do, call it whatever you want, it is part of the greater story, in my opinion. And that's our job as creative people, as artists, to contribute to that story, because it is part of the story or someone else's story, or that, and that's what I meant by service. That's our service.
Yes.
It's there for a reason, and it came to you. It didn't come to that person or that person, it came to you. So there's a responsibility to do something with that idea, because I think if you don't do things with your ideas, then the ideas die. And the place that those ideas come to or come from, I think that maybe it atrophies, and that's it for me. Well, and I see that, I think sometimes when we're working really little with the little brushes, I do it too. So it's, I know a little bit about how that, you know, we feel that control. But then sometimes I don't think it lets that come through.
Yeah.
Because we're directing so much, and there's not as much opportunity for, like, when I see what you've done here in the hair, excuse me, how amazing that is. And if you had to do that with little weeny ones, you would have directed it, and that hair wouldn't have said, here I am, I'm hair, I'm
I
right here.
understand why, like, people say that it kind of creates itself.
Creates itself, let the paint do the work.
Yeah.
And her mouth as well, just, you know, you would be so intent on doing that you wouldn't be transposing that.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I love that hair, and I didn't purposely make sure
No,
that
because
that
the
was
hair
that.
knew what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
Good job. So I have for quite some time been interested in Winnie Traynor, who was Tom Thompson's betrothed, or supposed betrothed. We know that they had some relationship. And so for several years I have been interested in what her story might be. And more recently, I read Roy McGregor's Northern Light, which brought her to life for me in a way that I just can't even tell you. I think I've become obsessed with her. And and obsessed with her voicelessness. I think she was not just Tom Thompson's girlfriend. She was a woman who had hopes and dreams and feelings about things and something to say and a story to tell. So I decided that I would imagine her, and so I have been painting my imaginings of Winnie, and I've called the series Imagining Winnie, just to try to get the feel for what it must have been like to have a vision of an elder Winnie, and I also have a vision of a younger Winnie. I think these depict her around the time of when she would have been with Tom had he lived, so in her sort of mid-30s. And but I would like to imagine her in her younger, more carefree days. So I think that there are at least 2 more images to come. The way Roy built the story in Northern Light that brought Winnie to life for me, and not just Winnie, but this town and the sub layer, the all of the layers that we don't see anymore, brought it to life for me in a way that just has never been there before. And I've been coming to Huntsville since I was a little girl and have lived here for over 30 years. So I've walked this community, and I can't walk these streets the same anymore without seeing that other layer, and feeling what has come before. And oh, Leah, this is so good.
Oh, thank you.
How are you feeling about it?
Good now. There was a time where I liked it, and then there was a time where I really, really didn't like it. Like when I added that eye on, and now I'm liking it again.
Yes.
It's funny.
Now that is a perfect example of the process that I witness.
Yeah.
Myself and everybody. There's that moment of creation, or we see the idea come to fruition, and oh my gosh, we're in love with it and it's amazing, and then we start to see the process through, and at some point in that process you have to engage with the courage to get through it, because there are times where it's just, oh my gosh, I hate this, I don't want to do it, and then you know that if you just keep at it.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what it was. Like I want to just take away this eye, and thinking about how am I going to take it away, and it's like, okay, now I'll just keep going, and I know it'll turn out that I'll like it somewhat.
I was saying to Leah that it's like the sweet spot. You know, can we stop the painting in the sweet spot?
Yeah.
Before we carry it on.
And be willing to leave that.
To leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because you love it so much in the sweet spot that you kind of can't stay away from it.
Yeah.
And that's when we move on to the next stage, where we usually do something that we think we've lost the sweet spot. And that's when the courage comes in to carry on until you get it back again.
We could do a whole chart.
Yeah, I think
Demonstrate
I
it.
think you could.
All us linear logical thinkers here.
Yeah. There's not a lot of linear logical thinking going on in this room, I'll tell you that.